Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Harry Potter miniature series. This episode is going to be about painting the troll, as you can probably guess. It's a 2-part tutorial because it's quite long, but I've tried to keep them as short as possible, but I need to show you each stage. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, so let's get straight into it. Right, for the troll's flesh, I've decided to go like a greeny grey kind of colour. So we'll go for the Hellbound flesh as the base coat, and we'll add in a little bit of shadow and more shadows, and then the highlights with that one there. So as you can see, it's been primed, ready to go. I used a grey, you can get it in a rattle can from Halfords. Just applying the Hellbound flesh. This may take a while because it's quite a lot of flesh on this character. There's about 50% paint, 50% water. So we want a nice thin coat so we can get a couple of coats on there to get a nice opaque colour, without it being too thick and then obscuring the details. So I won't bore you with the rest of it, and I'll take another shot when the flesh is finished. Alright, so I've done one coat of the base coat, which is the Hellbound flesh, and I think it needs another coat, so let's get that on. It was about 50% paint, 50% water, so it's nice and thin, and there's no danger of obscuring any of the details. So it's such a lovely sculpt. You wouldn't want to mess anything up. Alright, I'll carry on with that off camera. Right, so I just finished the second coat and it's looking a lot better now. So I think we'll start on the shadows now by adding in a little bit of the undead flesh to the original base coat, and we'll start on the shadows. So moving on to the shades now. I've actually skipped a layer. I was going to try adding undead flesh to the original base coat, but I've changed my mind and I've added Misfits green to it. So it's about a 50-50 mix, and then I've added the same amount, well, I say 50-50 paint to water as well, maybe a little bit more water, and I'm just pulling it down into the shadows so it's fairly thin. And I'm going to do that I'm going to treat every muscle like a different section. So like the deltoid is one area, so the shadows at the bottom of the deltoid, the bottom of the biceps, I'm doing exactly the same there. Just wet my brush and just feather it off a little bit. And I'll add in, go with a little bit of the base coat there. Sorry, I still had some of the green on my brush there. I can correct that later, as long as you get like a smooth-ish transition, you'll be okay. So I'll do that for every muscle now. I think I'll just do the chest as well. while we're here. And under the belly. This is going to be quite a significant shadow under here, so it's going to be more layers just to build it up. So I'm just with a wet brush then just feather it off. Basically you're just breaking up the outline of the paint you just put down. Right, I'll carry on with the rest now. So that's the shade coat on. What I can do now is use a thinned layer of the original coat, the Hellbound flesh, thinner than the actual base coat. Okay, so that's the shade on. While it's still wet, I'll feather that bit out a bit. And what I'll do then is get a thinner version of the base coat. Remember, the base coat was 50-50 water. If you add a little bit more water to that to get like a quite a transparent consistency, just bring back, you know, the original base coat there. I'll push the pigment up this time. It's basically to try and get a nice transition on the belly area, and I want it nice and dark under there, you see, so I'll probably go with another coat of the, it was 50-50 with the Misfits green, wasn't it? So I'll do another coat, but I'll stay down the bottom. And I might go in there with pure Misfits green now. We'll see how it dries first. Okay, so I'm going to leave that dry naturally. So while we're waiting, I'll start on the loincloth and the waistcoat. It's 50-50 mix of XV88, Citadel, and Balor brown. I'm going to use the same one, same combination for the vest as well. I think we'll do the club in like a dusty wood colour. We'll come on to that in a bit. Okay, I'll carry on off camera. For the club, I'm going to be using Scale 75's Walnut. Lovely colour. I think it's one of my favourites. Let's get that sorted. Okay. Usual 50-50 paint and water. I'll tidy that up off camera. Alright, on to the next stage for the bad guy. Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this on the loincloth and the waistcoat. I'll maybe go on the club as well. Let's see. I'll test it on the back of the club. See what it looks like. So if I just flip that round a minute, Not bad. Yeah, I think we'll use that, so I'll carry on with that. So that's the waistcoat, loincloth, club, and I go on the toenails as well actually, with your Agrax. And once this is dry, we can start on the highlights then. Hopefully it'll start to come to life. If you feel that this is, this is the standard that you want and you're happy with, stop here. It's, put some eyes on him and he looks pretty good as is, but we'll go that one stage further with the highlights now to really bring out the details, and that's where you start to make a difference then. So by all means stop, but if you want to make a difference and improve, go for the highlights. Okay, I'll carry on off camera and we'll come back when it's dry. So check out the box art. I've had a look and seen that the actual cheeks around the face and the eye sockets and the ears, they're all quite a lot darker. So I'm just going in with a really, a thinned down Agrax. I'm just going into the eye sockets just to accentuate some of the features on the side of the nose and the eyebrow bit there. It's just to darken things down a bit. And on the hollow of the cheek there as well. And don't worry about making a mess here, because you're going to be working up now in lighter colours to bring everything back into balance. I think I'll go under the chest there as well. It's quite a defined area. And belly. Just the bottom part. I'm going to wet my brush now and try and feather it out a bit. So it's just water on my brush now, and I'm pushing where I've painted, I'm pushing the pigment down so it gives a better transition. Okay, so what I'm doing now is using a thinned version of the base coat just to smooth off the transition. So I don't want a tide mark from where I put the shadows in to where the base coat starts. So I'm just, it's really thin. And I'm just going over where the last part of the shadows are. Just to get rid of the, I think they call it a coffee stain, don't they? But, just getting rid of that now. Then I'm going to do that for each of the muscles. It just tidies things up nicely. I've got a slightly lighter tone to that now. I'll just push it up into the highlight area. A bit too much on my brush there. And now I've just got water. I'm pushing it up. So I'm going to do that for most of the muscles now, including the chest and the top of the belly, and wait for that to dry. Right, so I've got base coat again now, and I'm starting to pick out the details on the face now. I'm going to leave a gap between the right end of his nose. I'll do the bridge of the nose right at the top, and then the end of his nose, and then I'll put a little point on each side down the nostrils, And I'll follow the cheek down. And get that line there from the top lip. A little bit on that side of the chin. He looks like he's got a bum chin, but I'll leave a gap in the middle. And I can pick out the clavicles then. I'm just going to go on the inner side of the chest. And the top of the belly again. This is going to be one of the lightest areas here, so I want to get it quite opaque before we start highlighting. So I'll do a couple of coats now in the same areas of the face, the eyebrows as well, and the tops of the ears. Just really pick out the main features and we'll wait for that to dry. Okay, so what I've got now is Miskatonic grey, 50-50 mix with the Nacar. So it's like a really light grey colour, but there's a nice undertone of like a greeny grey colour. And I've lined along the top of the bicep there. It's a really thin line using thin paint to separate the muscle structures. So you got highlights at the top, and you come down into shadows, and then you treat this as a separate muscle then, so the bicep starts light and then works down into shadows. So I'm doing that for each muscle group now, and I'll do the same on this side. It's a really thin line. I'm following the striations on the skin there. And up here I'll just do a thin layer, and what I'll do, I'll thin the paint off with water and push it up into the top of the muscle. So I'm going to be doing this now for each muscle group on the top of the belly. I'll do some striations on the chest as well. I can see where my paint is. The palette's on the other side of me. I'll just refocus just in case now. So just to pick out some lines on the chest, so I'll go with a clavicle. And pulling the paint towards the chest, or towards the middle of the chest. Top of the belly there. Right, I'll leave that dry. So I've got the same highlight mix, the 50-50 of the greys and the whitey colour. I'm pushing that paint up into the bridge of the nose. Just dotting the end and the nostrils on each side. And coming down the cheekbone. That line, a spot up there between the that line on the nostril is quite light. So I'll do the same on this side. I'm coming down the cheekbone. Pick up that line and up there. I'll do a little spot on the chin. Very subtle. Clavicle again. Okay, right, so I'll do another coat of that on the face and then wait for it to dry.